Watch the entire video, my lovely viewers, I mean from start to finish, to get the whole thing. Without wasting much of your time, let's get right into it.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Hi lovely viewers, it's me again, your one and only Mutati Mpundu. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time on my channel, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button down below. Turn the bell icon to join the notification squad. Don't forget to like, share, and leave a comment. Tell me what you think about this video in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you lovely viewers.
This one, and I imagine that the mixed emotions that you might be having, and I wonder how easy or difficult it is for you to talk about the late president.
Yeah, frankly, it's difficult when you have lost someone that you interacted with and you knew for many years. I first met ECL at the university in 1979 in the law school. So I've known him from that period up to now, which is a period of maybe 30 years. So to see him depart at this moment, you know, when in my view, he's still a young man. He was still a young man. You know, those of us who are in the mid 60s and towards the late 60s, we are still young men. We still have a lot to do and to offer to this nation and beyond this nation to the world. So I think to see him go at this stage, that this country is in a state of mourning, that ECL is no more, it's a very sad moment.
You seem to have you have a bit of I don't know, background or similar, you know, coming from.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Okay, if you read my message of condolences, I highlighted two things in there. And the first thing that I said was that ECO and I shared very similar background. We came from humble backgrounds. Maybe at the time when we went to the university, I don't think each one of us had more than 2 pairs of trousers. And I think not more than 3 shirts. I don't think I had more than 3 shirts when I was when I went to the university in 1978. So that background, I think we shared. The second thing that we shared, coming from that background again, is our academic performance. He performed very well. So that again was something that him and I shared in common. And we graduated the same day. The other thing that we seemed to share in common was our sense for public duty, for public service. Because when we left the university in 1981, ECL went on to join the legal aid department. That was his first employer. In other words, the government of the Republic of Zambia. I went on to join Lusaka City Council, the local government service. So we both didn't go into parastatals. It was very attractive at that time to go into Indeco, you know, to go into Zimuco. He went into Zimuco later, but his first employer was the government of the Republic of Zambia, the Department of Legal Aid. I worked for the local government service for 15 years until I decided to exit. So public service was something that we had in common. And so we went our own ways, and much later we met again in PF. When I joined PF in 2006, I found ECL there. He had already joined. He had already attempted an election as Member of Parliament for Chawama. So we continued to build our relationship in politics now And if you remember, his first appointment was that of deputy minister in the office of the vice president. I was appointed Minister of Justice. He was later promoted to Home Affairs Minister. And he then started acting as president, you know, when Mr. Sata traveled out of the country. So you can see that him and I have this background that we shared. And I think I knew ECL more than many people, you know, today, even in the Patriotic Front. I don't think there is anybody in the Patriotic Front who shares that kind of history and background with the ECL as much as I do.
You eventually left the PF.
Yes.
And there's some who attribute that to frustration within the PF. In fact, in the context of the late president as a member of the PF and yourself, one seemed to get favor over the other. You felt frustrated and you left. Is that
no? I didn't. No, I didn't get frustrated. I didn't get frustrated. I joined the PF because of Michael Sata and Guy Scott. In 2006, just before the elections, we had a meeting in my office with some of my colleagues that were members of the ZRP, the Zambia Republican Party, which was headed by B.Y. Mwila. We had a meeting in my office. And at that stage, it had become very clear that we would not continue as members of ZRP. So we met in my office one afternoon to decide where we should go. And some of my colleagues, and Silva Masebo was in that group, decided they would go to the MMD. I decided I'll go to PF. And the reason I gave was there's nobody I knew in the MMD, and I knew Michael Sata in PF, and I knew Guy Scott. So I said, I believe in playing politics with the people that I know, not strangers. So I said, you can go to MMD, I'll go to PF. It was at the time when PF had no prospects of ever winning an election in this country. Never. But I still decided that I was better off, I was comfortable in the company of Guy Scott and Michael Sata. So when Michael Sata died in October of 2014, I didn't see, and Guy Scott was no longer an active member or participant in PF. I didn't see who else I would actually play politics with in PF. So on the 14th of November 2014, I put in a letter of resignation, which I gave to Guy Scott, and I said, I'm out of PF.
Because
so it was not out of frustration. It's because both my colleagues, you know, that I'd followed in the party were no longer there.
So was it about the party or the people in the party?
It was both.
Okay.
But primarily, it was about the people. The party on its own is nothing if you don't have people to interact with. So it was about the people, and secondly, the party as an organization.
Okay. Let's look at the past week. It's been back and forth, especially relating to parties agreeing on how to proceed with the funeral. And what are your thoughts about what has happened up to this point?
My thoughts in terms of what?
In terms of the progress that has been made.
Well, it is sad. It is sad, frankly, that we've reached this stage where when everybody thought that this was a straightforward matter, that the body will come into the country, you know, as quickly as possible, that the period of national mourning, as declared by the president, would be complied with. Nothing has happened. And I'm not part of government, so I don't know what has been going on, apart from what I read in the social media. And what you pick from the social media is that there has been this back and forth, you know, the wishes of the family, the wishes of ECL himself, the departed. And it has been very difficult to knit things together, to figure out exactly what is going on. And that has made it very difficult, to a point where we have dispirited, you know, the grief of the people. So, you know, we have diluted that grief. You know, people have become fatigued, you know, because they don't understand what is going on. What is it that is a problem? Okay, what is the problem? Why isn't the body here? Why aren't we getting on with the burial? You know, and let the nation get over with this period of grief and move forward. So that I think is what has gripped everybody, and for many people, and I've been talking to many people during this period, they just do not understand what is going on.
Does it call for further conversation about whether or not there should be some explicit write-ups in the Constitution, or whatever form of, I don't know, direction? Because it would appear there's nothing explicit regarding how or what should be how it should be conducted, whether it's a former president or indeed a sitting president, but especially for former presidents.
Franklin, you are right. You know, a moment like this, a situation like this, does not have any written rules. What governs it are what in local government we call conventions, practices that have evolved over time. And practice may change slightly depending on the circumstances of the situation. Okay, so nothing is in writing, and I think that is one of the difficulties that we, you know, or that obtains now from the experience that we have had in this particular situation. But let's visit, you know, let's give it a historical visit a bit. Zambia has had 7 presidents since 1964. Of the 7, 6 have passed away. Or in current English, they call it pass on. You know, I come from the conservative English. 6 have passed away. Of the 6, 3 died out of the country. Okay, so we've got Levi Mwanawasa in August 2008. We got Levi Mwanawasa in 2008.
Michael
Sata in 2014, and now ECL in 2025. 3 died in the country. So we've got FTJ, we've got Arabi, and the KK. Of the 6, again, historically, 3 died during the time when their political parties were in power. So FTJ died when MMD was in power. Levi Mwanawasa died when MMD was in power. Michael Sata died when PF was in power. The other 3 died when their political parties were not in power. So KK died when UNIP was not in power. Arabi died when MMD was not in power. And ECL now dies when PF is not in power. Of the 6 funerals, the best organized funeral, where there was decency, order, and everything, was Arabi's funeral. in 2022. The most chaotic one, I regret to say, was Michael Satter's in 2014. It was chaos. HH was prevented from attending that funeral. I was prevented from attending that funeral because of the threats of violence and just the whole environment of anarchy and hooliganism that was obtaining and prevailing at the time. In 2021, KK dies in June of 2022. KK dies in June of 2022. HH was prevented from attending that funeral. He didn't mourn KK. Okay? He only came to preside over KK's memorial in 2022 when now he was in power. So, this situation which is obtaining now is not new at all. It's not new. There's been this culture of people not respecting the dead and attempting to use the dead to promote a political agenda. The only reason why HH was prevented from attending KK's funeral is because he was in the opposition, he was going to steal the limelight, or for whatever reason. So, we probably have reached a point where we must put rules in place. But you see, I've always argued, and I've always said this, that you can't legislate attitudes. Okay? Mm-hmm. The law is not intended to legislate morality. How you morally feel and must act in a situation does not require legislation. To allow another colleague in a moment of grief, in a situation of grief such as this one, to mourn in the manner that he believes that he should mourn, does not require any legislation. It requires good leadership, the good mindset of those that are in charge at a particular time. So we had, for example, in 2014, Michael Satter dies. The guys are in charge. And nobody of those that are in charge, nobody is able to look around and say, but where is Wynter? Why is Wynter not here? And Wynter was a minister, you know, in our party, and he was the Secretary General of our party. And he was a good colleague of Michael Satter. Why isn't Wynter here? Why is HH not here? He's a member of the opposition political party. Why aren't colleagues in the UPND here? Because we are mourning a president who was a president for everybody, including those that are in the UPND. Mm-hmm. Those that are in charge do not ask themselves those questions. If they do, they ask themselves wrong questions, or they entertain a wrong environment. So you have all these cadres standing around, you know, and you know, threatening violence, you know, and everybody is very comfortable about that. The only head of state, subject to correction, that came for Michael Satter's funeral was Robert Mugabe. And he delivered a speech. So, we can't argue that we are we are in this situation because there is no law, because there are no written rules. No. We are in this situation because when you have a passing on of a national leader like this, it seems to me that all of us develop different interests. It happens even at family level. Some people come to attend the funeral just to come and see how much did Wynter own. You know, how much can I walk away with from, you know, from this. People start even grabbing car keys, you know, and putting in the pocket and say, me, I'll walk away with this car. Okay? So they don't come primarily to mourn. They come for material things. So even in this situation, it seems to me that there are different conflicting agendas.
This is DJ Mutati exclusive.
Alright, that's all for you today, lovely viewers. If you did enjoy the video, please don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Tell me what you think about the video you just watched in the comment section below. I'll be super glad to hear from you, lovely viewers. Once again, I go by the name of Mutati Mpundu. I love you, peace, I gotta go.